Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Fitness Education Series produced by the Australian Fitness Academy. It's like progressive overload for your brain. I'm your host, Tom Rock, and today's episode is a special one. We're gonna have a chat with Bhavesh and Ed from 3D Measure Me. 3D Measure Me and AFA have recently started a new partnership, and we've seen a lot of benefit, and we think there's a great scope for PTs to implement Bhavesh's product as a tool, 3D Measure Me, and it's all about keeping track or helping your clients keep track and see progress in the most simplest way. But we're going to jump on now, and I'm going to have a chat with Bhavesh, the founder of 3D Measure Me, and Ed, and they're going to talk through all about their product and the benefits. And check out the link to their website in the description of the podcast. But without further ado, guys, we'll jump in. I hope you enjoy the chat between me, Ed, and Bhavesh, all about 3D Measure Me. Thanks for joining me, Bhavesh and Ed. So I'm looking forward to getting stuck into this episode. So Bhavesh, I'll let you introduce that, the founder of 3D Measure Me. Ed, what's your official title with 3D Measure Me, would you say?
Well, I'm Bhavesh's biggest supporter to help the company get some traction. I'm overseas, so I'm helping the brand to go global.
Awesome, very cool, very cool. It'd be good to get both sides, and hear all about 3D Measure Me. Sort of a new partnership for AFA, which is really cool for us. We've obviously been exposed to the product now and really love what we see. So looking forward to growing this together. But Bhavesh, again, thanks for jumping on. Love to hear from you about the whole concept of 3D Measure Me and basically how it started and came about.
Hey, Tom, thanks for having me in there. And Ed, I think, is being a bit modest. Yes, he is our biggest supporter, but he's also helping a lot with actually getting us the right partnerships and interactions and implementation as well within the whole fitness industry, because his experience in that area is invaluable. And it's something I don't personally have. So, yeah, definitely grateful to be working with Ed on all of that. So, yeah, as you mentioned, that, I'm the founder of 3D Measure Me. We didn't actually start as a whole health and fitness thing. It all started from fashion, which was kind of my background. I'm actually an accountant by trade, and then eventually landed up in a school uniform business, and I started up the retail side. And one of the biggest issues we had was beginning of the year. Everyone goes back to school, and we had two queues, one for people buying new uniforms, and the second one was for people exchanging because they ordered online and they all got the wrong size.
Wow, yeah.
And, we kind of tried to look for, okay, well, how can we solve that? You did the normal things, like size guides and, trying to teach people how to measure themselves, and nothing worked. And, we kind of looked at, well, what's the actual best solution and what's the real problem? And the problem was people couldn't actually measure themselves at the right locations, and consistently.
Yep.
Now, at that stage, the best solution was kind of like a 3D body scanner. But trying to put that into a school, it's just not scalable, one for each school. And then telling every student to have to strip down to their underwear to get scanned, and that's never going to work.
That's not going to go well, is it?
So we kind of started thinking about it, and I was like, okay, well, smartphones have gotten better. Why can't we use the camera on that? Because those cameras are absolutely awesome now, and there's AI as well coming out there. So we started looking at solutions that we could actually use in there. And we found a few of them, which sounded really good on paper. They had 97% accuracy. We thought, okay, that's kind of good. Let's start doing some testing. And as we started testing them, we realized that even though they were claiming 97%, a lot of them, the accuracy was actually getting much lower. So you started landing up down, some of them were 90% or less than that, which doesn't sound too bad overall. But when you actually start looking like from clothing, it becomes a real problem, because at 90%, 10% variance, if you look at the average chest, a chest measurement, the average measurement is over 100 centimeters. So suddenly, when you start looking at a shirt size changes by 5 centimeters per size.
Yeah, wow.
So if you're 10 centimeters out, that's, 2 sizes out So if you're a large, you could be recommended anything from a small to a double XL.
That's crazy.
Absolutely useless.
I think from the fitness industry, like we probably not as common these days to use girth measurements to measure progress, but used to be huge back in the day, and it's still used in facilities and some trainers. But even teaching girth measurements here, the variance on trying to take someone's girth that's not your own is still hard. And unless you do a lot of practice and do a regularly in exactly the same location, it's very hard to get accurate measurements.
Exactly.
For someone's girth measurements.
And
sure.
that's how we actually ended up with that whole switch coming to this, because while we're doing that and building everything, my wife actually had a personal trainer who came home. And the very first thing she did was like, okay, I'm taking all these measurements, gave her a piece of paper and said, right, I want you to write these down every week. And the very first week, my wife tried taking a thigh measurement, took 3 measurements, and, there's a 5 centimeter variance. And she's like, well, what am I supposed to do with this? This is wrong.
Yeah, you meant to use that for tracking progress. It's never going to be accurate in lab, is it?
And that's it. So we kind of looked and said, okay, well, this kind of seems like a logical fit, and it may actually be a better starting point, because these are people who actually, the fashion industry, it's very fickle for that side of things. So we had to make sure we had the whole user experience right and get that accuracy right. So we said, okay, well, let's kind of go through and we can actually work with the health and fitness industry. So we started speaking to some of the PTs and, would this actually be helpful for you? And they just turned around and was like, yeah, that's absolutely awesome. Because, firstly, anytime the number of clients that we have that turn around and just tell us that, yep, I want to do training, but I don't want to be measured up because it's just highly invasive.
Absolutely. Yep.
And we looked and we said, okay, well, that's a problem we can solve because we're just taking photos. So there's no touching at all. Then they turn around and it's like, we need to be able to compare the avatars so that people can see progress over time. But we also want to see the measurements and we want to see progress graphs so people can see their tracking, because, just seeing one measurement at one point in time isn't very useful. But, if they start seeing the trends that, even if there's a bad week where something goes up, by the next week it starts going down and that overall trend is going in the right direction. That is motivating for people.
Hugely. That's really cool. So it started in the fashion industry and then you sort of worked on that application now into the fitness side of things.
And now that's where our main focus area is, that whole health and fitness side, and, working with personal trainers, gyms, your nutritionists, dietitians, because they all use that same information and they all track the same thing. But it's like just having access to that information, and especially with the world becoming more online now, this allows them to do that remotely as well.
Yeah, I think having the accuracy, like you touched on, over the period of time of being able to see trends is super important. Because, like you said, one number doesn't really tell us much. So accuracy and replicating test over time is really, really cool. So you've used the app a little bit yourself, Bhavesh?
I have. So, part of my background is that I actually worked with one of our partners, Metabolic Balance. And I didn't think I needed anything, but, when I actually started using it with them and having the chat with them, I said, okay, let's go through, I'm going to do the program and it makes such a difference in my life. Like using that program, I actually lost 20 kilos, 15 centimeters off my waist. But the big thing was that it wasn't, like even in the first week of doing this program, I lost 3 kilos, I lost 2 centimeters off the waist, which I knew that was good. But I looked in the mirror and I saw nothing. Week after week, I was looking in the mirror and I just saw no change. And it's because you've still got that mental image of yourself and what you look like. And it's like, oh, that is just not good. But because I was doing my scans at the same time every week, it was absolutely awesome, because I'd look in the mirror, nope, nothing's happened there. But I could look at the scan, I could see, oh, you've lost 1 kilo this week. You've lost 1 centimeter this week, off your waist. And that's what actually kept me motivated, because I was like, okay, what you're doing is working. It's making you keep going, and that's it.
The results is so, it's very important. I think it's an underrated component of being able to keep someone motivated. If you're just doing something, you're not seeing any improvements or any changes, it's very easy to give up, I think.
Exactly. And, that's one of the biggest things that, especially when, we're talking about those PTs where clients don't want to be measured. If you can't measure it, then you can't show them how they're improving, and you're going to end up losing that client very quickly if they can't actually see their results. So being able to see that progress and result, not only does it help build trust because it gives clients real objective data that they can actually use, but it actually keeps the clients motivated to keep going because they do their scans regularly and they can see their progress. And the PTs can actually access that as well. So they can actually see how, their programs are impacting on the client and adjust in real time if something's not working.
Yeah, absolutely. That feedback on what am I implementing and is it working is really, really good. You mentioned objective data there. Touch on maybe what we actually get out of the app and what we can learn.
Yeah, so we take 4 photos, we ask for height and weight to be entered, and then what we do is a minute later you get a 3D model of yourself along with over 80 body measurements and metrics. And that comes from simple measurements like, waist circumference, hip circumference, your left and right arms, thighs, upper thigh, mid thigh, and we've separated that by left and right so you can see imbalances and things like that. But we also we give you like a body fat percentage, body fat mass, your waist hip ratio, waist height ratio. But all of those ones where, the common ones which are used, we also give a little bit of a dashboard with some color coding, and we also put like links in there so that people can understand what the data means. So it makes it self-explanatory to the PT's clients in there, and
cool.
just makes it nice and easy for them to understand without needing a lot of explanation. Or
Sometimes that interpretation could take a bit, but it's good that that's all in there. And people can jump on and try the app too, can't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's completely free for anyone to download, try, use it. You can replace it as many times as you want, completely free. And then if people do want to track their history, that's what they need to pay for. But that's, $1.50 a month for unlimited scans.
Yeah.
And we've done the unlimited scans because, even like with my progress, it's seeing that progress over time. It's, doing that weekly scan that actually keeps you motivated. So that's why we've done that. So we can actually say that, right, okay, you actually want to improve your health. Let's help you do that.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's very cool. That's probably a good lead into Ed and sort of where he sort of sees this going and how he's taken it into the fitness industry and how he positioned it.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. So I guess if I speak specifically to the minds of the personal trainers, right? Because I'm a personal trainer myself. I've worked with certifications for personal trainers. I've been in this business for many, many years. And one thing that we find is when personal trainers get out into the industry and they start training the people that they know, like their friends and family, there's a little bit of familiarity there. So they've already kind of narrowed the buffer between who I am and who you are. And I'm able to sort of work with you and measure you and so on like that. And we know that the curriculum in the Australian fitness industry for body measurements is still back in the day of using tape measures and skin calipers, right? Yeah. The way that the curriculum evolves is we look at what is happening in the industry, what's the need of the industry, and then we update the curriculum thereafter. So we always find there's a little bit of a lag between what's happening and what the need is in the industry, including what technology is available and what the requirements are for the certifications. So one reason we absolutely love cooperating with AFA is you guys are ahead of the curve, right, so to speak. Using technology and using methodologies that is ahead of what the requirement is. So the trainers who are coming out of your organization are already able to hit the ground running once they get out into the industry. So back when I was a personal trainer, I told my clients to throw away the scales, right? Because it's not an accurate measurement of what's really happening with your body. You may be gaining weight on the scales, but your body composition is changing, like you're adding muscle and you're losing fat. So fat, as we know, is big and soft. Muscle is small and tight. So just that in itself means that as you add muscle to your body will become smaller, but it will become tighter. And that's actually what people want. But if you look at the scales, oh my goodness, I've added 2 kgs in the last few weeks. And Bhavesh has actually got a great story of a lady who did a fitness challenge. And after 12 weeks of fitness challenge, she had gained a kilo. And she's like, oh my goodness, what had happened? But in reality, her body composition, she had lost 7 kilos of fat and she'd gained 8 kilos of muscle. So her body composition had changed dramatically in a positive way. But on the scale, she added a kilo. So she felt a little bit upset about that. So what 3D Measure Me does is it uses the reality and the visual reality of what your body is looking like. I used to say to my clients, throw away your scales, find your favorite pair of jeans, and that's what we're going to use to measure what's happening in the future. Wasn't really scientific, but it was a really practical way to show them, because denim jeans don't lie, right? Unless they're stretchy. They don't lie. So if you find that your denim jeans are starting to become loose on your body, well, guess what? Your body's becoming smaller and tighter. But if they're becoming more tight, it means that there's something, the opposite is probably happening. So Measure Me allows you to have that visual reference. There was an organization a few years ago that was putting the pods into shopping malls where people could go into this photo booth, they could take off their clothes, and that'd be like a 3D scan, and you could get a 3D model of your body. So one of the problems with that is it was expensive. The second problem was you're in the shopping mall and you're taking off your clothing in a little pod. So they had the right idea, but the way they were doing it was not that good. So now we've got the ability to do this in the privacy of your own home. And then that data goes to your trainer. So the trainer can actually help you to track the progress as you're going along. So we know with personal trainers getting out into the industry, the first few months is where you make it or break it. That's where you get inspired. Your clients are getting results. You're starting to get traction. Your clients are telling their friends, wow, you got to train with this guy, Tom. He's an awesome trainer because I'm getting great results. And they've got something measurable to be able to show. So just that first few weeks and that first few months of you being a trainer, that's going to set you up. That's going to set your momentum and your trajectory for where your business is going to go. If you get out into the industry and you don't use tools like this, what's going to happen is you're doing it old school way. You know, your clients are starting to gain weight on the scales and they're afraid to do strength training, especially for women, which is something we know, oh my goodness, ladies need to do strength training. But the biggest fear they have is that they're going to be gaining weight. So this takes away all of that mystery. They can show that their body's getting smaller and tighter and they're improving their health. You don't have to touch their bodies. And that in itself is a bit of a gray area as well. If you're a trainer and you're touching someone's body that you don't know when you first meet them, there's some gray area there. And I always felt uncomfortable doing that. So I never did with my clients. So this is giving you the green light to be able to test and measure your clients, have measurable results that they're going to be able to show for themselves and for their clients. And your business is going to grow very, very quickly because you have such a tool like this.
Yeah, I think you touched on some great points. And initially, like the weight on the scales is something that I think it's getting more and more well known that you shouldn't focus on just the weight on the scales because it doesn't really tell you the whole story. But I think the benefit from the scale point of view is that you can just jump on it every morning and get a consistent result every day. And that was probably what we talk about. Like if we talk about other methods, like you have in-body scans and you have the full body scans, they each come at a higher cost and generally you don't have access to them every day. So PTs might run like a 12-week challenge and you do a scan at the start and a scan at the end, but that's still, it might be 8 weeks or 12 weeks between scans just to seeing did I achieve anything. Whereas that's quite a long time to maintain motivation without.
Yeah, that's right. And you bring up a great point there. I absolutely love the body composition machines like InBody and machines like that. They have changed the game for the fitness industry. They've given us scientific data on not only our body composition, such as fat and muscle, but also water retention and different areas of your body changing. But as you brought up, it's not so practical. Not everyone has access to a BCA machine.
Exactly.
You certainly don't have them in your home. The cost of having them in a fitness center is quite high, and also the maintenance and having a person knowing how to use it and interpret the data accurately is also another challenge that a lot of fitness centers make. In almost every fitness center that I do consulting with, they've got a little dark body check room that sits there with the lights off all day, and there's a BCA machine sitting in there. You know, it's one of the most valuable tools that they have. So now what we've got is this incredible tool that you don't even have to be in the fitness center to do it. You can say to your clients, hey, guess what? It's been 30 days since our last 3D Measure Me. So when you go home tonight, do your test again, and then the results will be in the system, so they can do it at time and in the comfort of their own home.
Yeah, the ability to do it more regularly and also probably more standardized. Like if I have to go into the gym to do it, a measurement of something, time of day, how much food I've eaten, what exercise I've done before I do it is going to affect the numbers on that stand. Whereas with 3D Measure Me, I can do it same time every morning, exact same clothes, same lighting, same space, and potentially have more accurate results, but more regulated to keep me seeing progress.
Yeah, and a lot of personal trainers, they love the fact that they're studying anatomy and physiology and exercise science. Like there's a scientific brain behind being a great trainer, but there's also the human side as well. The emotions, the feelings, the intimidation of people going into fitness centers, the intimidation of people asking for help, like a lot of these barriers that your clients are facing. So the BCA machines, they provide all the data. You've got your percentages of your body fat and your legs and blah, 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 like that. Like it's great information. It's numbers, but people don't get inspired by numbers. They get inspired by context. Wow, my jeans are fitting really well. Or when I look in the mirror, I caught myself in the reflection when I was walking downtown today, and I felt really good. Like that is what gets your clients inspired. And as a trainer, that is what gets you recognized as one of the trainers that gets results. At the end of the day, you can be the most scientifically qualified trainer in the world. I used to be like this. I used to think I need to study more certificates, understand the human body. The clients don't care. All they care about is they went to a family dinner and the family member said, "Oh my goodness, what are you doing? You look fantastic." That is worth more than anything to those people.
Yeah, absolutely. Like to that, even previous experience in sport and having a big scientific like application in sport science, athletes don't necessarily care about the exact numbers, or they saw a 1% improvement if they're winning, or they see their sport improve. They don't care if their bench press or their squat got bigger. It's all about the outcome, and I think that's just very similar to the PT landscape too. And this allows you to another tool just to demonstrate that they're on the right track.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome. So what's the big plans? We'll wrap up soon, but what's the big plan for 3D Measure Me going forward? Do we think, where do we see it going? Bhavesh, what's your goal?
Well, we're starting, health and fitness. We want to become the default tool that, every PT is using, every gym is using. But what we're doing is we're actually building a nice ecosystem where people will be able to use this data. They'll be able to share it with their PT, with their gym, potentially with their health insurer. Because, if they're doing such a good job as well, they want to be recognized for that, instead of just being assumed to be bad. So they want to be able to use it with their health insurer. When they're doing their online shopping, we will be going back into fashion. So, we want to make sure they're getting the right size clothing going forward in there, and then in the future as well. Who knows, you may land up playing games using your avatar from 3D Measure Me, if you're playing FIFA or something online, and, you can play alongside the best soccer players in the world, or do your virtual meetings using.
I reckon it might even get me shop. I hate shopping online, Mesh, but anything that I have to wear, because I know, well, if I get it, I'm just going to have to send it back. So this could be the one tool that gets me actually shopping online if I get into it in the fashion industry too, I reckon. So
awesome. Love that.
Yeah, for sure.
In our opinion, the fitness instructors, including group fitness instructors and personal trainers, you are angels here on earth, because you are the ones that are making people healthier, making them feel good about themselves, and helping them to take that journey towards better health and happiness. Now, we've investigated a lot about where do we start. Bhavesh and I had these conversations many times. Do we go to fitness centers? Do we approach the big chains and say, "Oh, you need to put this into your centers"? But what we've really identified is the people that are going out into the industry now and working with your first few clients. That's the seed, because those trainers are the ones that in the future are going to be the supervisors, the managers, the business owners, and the chain, the enterprise developers as the fitness industry goes forward. So we wanted to come in at ground level and start with the people that are making the biggest difference every day.
Yeah, that's very good. And I think it's something like you said, like with all our students, like it's such a great tool. And if they can bring into their business and their model, like it's just going to help them, their clients feel more comfortable as well as see the results come through. It just allows you to give your clients a top-notch service, but without that basicness of the old school type measurements.
Yeah, and just finally, let's talk about the cost. Like Bhavesh kind of brushed over.
Yes.
Are we talking about like not even a cup of coffee, like a glass of milk cost, per month? Like what are we talking about? It is an absolute no-brainer to be using this tool as soon as you get out into the industry, and even before so with yourself. Like as soon as you get access to this, download it, go home tonight, do your scans so you have your baseline, and then you watch what happens to your own health and fitness as well.
Absolutely. I think, super affordable. And I'll put a link in the show notes just to the app. But jump on and try it yourself is something that I would encourage every single one of you. It's free. Jump on, try it, and see how it works. And I guarantee you it's probably something you will see incorporated into your business without a doubt, just for the value for your clients.
Fantastic.
Awesome. I appreciate your time, Bhavesh. Very good to hear a bit more about where it came from, because I think it's a very interesting story to really just the thought train to go, this is the problem, and just see its application into our fitness industry. We love it because it's definitely going to be a huge benefit to a large number of people.
Thanks very much for having us on, Tom. And we're looking forward to really working with you guys and seeing that next generation of PTs coming out using 3D Measure Me and changing the health of all of Australia and internationally as well.
Yeah, it's big. It's a great thing for the world, I think, and it's really cool.